tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzzTV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzzTV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I love this song. We were just saying how we loved doing our cheerleading routines to this back in the day.
When we were 14, 15.
Yeah, we were breaking out our old 90s moves. Oh, yeah.
I was in college by then, but that's okay. That's okay.
Shout out Fern to college. Well, you are in the right place. We are having a little dance party here on the Real Housewives of New York AfterBuzz show for you. It's season 7, episode 10, Pop of Cray. Definitely a cray-cray episode. What do we think, ladies? I thought it was another fabulous, drama-filled, fun episode. Fern, how about you?
It did not disappoint. There were a lot of little fights to dissect. It was quite delicious.
Ooh.
It was a very confrontational episode, and sometimes confrontation was shut down, and sometimes it was hashed out, and we see closure, which is always kind of nice.
You're so
and I felt like this episode had a ton of awesome fashion in it. You were commenting on Carole's outfit. I loved we both loved Bethenny's dress, and Carole's lipstick, and Kristen's eye makeup.
Oh my god!
And of course, when it comes to fashion, oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for the Astronaut Wives Club.
Yes.
But the fashion looks absolutely amazing. It's 1960s, so it's glamorous. It's Mad Men-esque. It's really fun, very housewifey. And this summer on ABC, we're going to be seeing it and flashing back to the 1960s when America is racing to send a man into space. 7 elite pilots become the country's first astronauts. While these brave men are hurtled through space on death-defying missions, the press turn a spotlight on their wives.
Ooh.
Following their every move, American audiences could not get enough. As the husbands become heroes, the wives rocketed to stardom. Not only is it an awesome TV show, but it was based on the best-selling book, The Astronaut Wives Club. It's a story of the first ladies of space. Through triumph and tragedy, they forged a friendship that lasted more than 50 years. The countdown is on to the fun and thrilling story behind the greatest adventure in American history. It may have been one small step for man, but it was one giant leap, of course, in fabulous heels. For America's most famous wives. This summer, blast off on the ride of a lifetime. The Astronaut Wives Club premieres Thursday, June 18th on ABC.
Ooh,
nice.
Don't miss it.
It seems very juicy, and I think it's great that we're getting to talk about it during our show because it seems like a Housewives. There's drama, but they're fun, but they're like, I love seriously, the costuming is killing me right now because I just love that look and stuff.
It's kind of like they're the inspiration for today's Real Housewives.
They are.
They were the original Housewives.
Exactly.
And they had that flight attendant show for a while.
Oh, yeah,
so I feel like they're coming up with some really, really neat and different ideas and maybe bringing something that's like reality into a more of a scripted series.
Yes.
So obviously based off a book in real life, but so it's kind of, I think it's cool.
I love anything that takes place
Sounds
in the
really
60s.
great.
Me too.
And premieres on the 18th of June on ABC.
On ABC. But let's get back to our Real Housewives of New York. Flashing forward to New York here in present day. So we start picking back up with the fight that we ended with last week. So Bethenny and Heather have kind of fallen apart at the seams and are both crying at dinner, at Dorinda's birthday dinner in the Berkshires. But we pick up with an apology. Bethenny kind of, after she shuts Heather down and refuses to like take her hand and go in the other room and talk, she goes over to Heather, apologizes, hugs her to try to squash the whole thing, and then sits back down. Then she's upset that everyone seems to be talking about her right in front of her face. What's your take on what was really being said on that side of the table and the whole scenario?
Like, how are they not going to talk about what just happened? Like, they're going to make some little comments. Like, you can't be so sensitive that you're like, I heard what you said after you caused the scene. Like, they're going to talk about it a little bit before they go on to acting normal. So it was, you got to get over that. You have to expect that. And I did not see this coming. If you told me last week that the Berkshires would continue with them hugging, I would be like, what? Bethenny got up and went over and hugged? No way.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
That was it was nice. Sometimes I think we see a really tough side of Bethenny. So sometimes when she breaks down and becomes emotional, like she did with Carole in the furniture store that day, she becomes more real to all of us and not this like rough woman sometimes that she can be viewed as. And I think it's just because she's strong and she's been hurt. But it's nice to see a softer side of her and to see her apologize.
Yes.
I do agree, though. As a polite, respectful woman, I would excuse myself from the table and do what Dorinda, Heather, and Kristen did. Okay, when Dorinda went to go fix the fire in the other room and they were all in there talking about it, fine. I would not bring it up at the dinner table after you just have fixed this. That is only going to make things worse. So if I was Bethenny, I would have been annoyed too.
Yeah, me too. Because I feel like I am one of those people who's constantly thinks people are talking about me when they aren't. I don't know. I just always like this weird fear I have that anytime anyone's talking not to me, they're talking about me. I don't know what that stems from. I'm probably a very damaged person. I don't realize it right now. Let's get Dr. Fran in here. But man, if I saw people immediately start talking about that I just tried to squash it with you right in front of me, I'd be like, hey, shut up, I'm right here, which is exactly what Bethenny did. And then I thought it was interesting when they all split up into the separate rooms and started talking about what had just happened right away. I thought it was interesting to hear Bethenny say, oh, I was just like fake hugging her to squash it. And, you know, Heather in the other room being like, I'm going to get my Scully on so she knows. Do you think that they really kind of squashed it, or it just was so in the moment that no?
Obviously not, but then I think they did later. Like we see later. I think that was more genuine, that they were like, let's just drop it. But in that moment, I think they were still too heated.
Yeah.
I agree.
They didn't really mean
100% with Fern. I think it was just too much at that present moment to really like be able to let it go and just completely like let it go during the dinner, but still be frustrated with one another because they were both annoyed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was happy
agree.
for Heather, actually, because last week I was like, what are you doing? You're making a fool of yourself. So I'm glad she kind of got that kind of closure, because took a step back, got that closure, and because she was probably embarrassed watching it.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, Fernie, do you have some words for us about Podcast One?
I do. So on podcastone.com, they're having a listener survey, and it would be very helpful if you would go to podcastone.com and take the listener survey. It'll only take a couple of minutes, but it'll be so helpful to us. Let us know what you think of the show, how we're doing, and really help us to get to know you. It's extremely helpful to us, and we would so appreciate it. It only takes a couple of minutes, so if you could go to podcastone.com and take the listener survey, we'll love you forever.
We will.
And ever and ever.
But it's awesome because that way we get to hear your feedback, and we can make the show more tailored to you guys and what you want to hear and do and see. And, you know, we try to get as many people in here from the show as we can, but we'd also love to hear what else you want to see and hear from us.
We love your tweets and comments.
Yes,
so keep them coming,
let's keep them coming too. Let's do everyone's Twitter really quick, just so that if anybody wants to tweet us right now. Guys, I'm at Megan Stecher, as always. Fern?
I'm at Fern Ronay.
And I'm at Lyndsey Wegner. And make sure that you guys are using the hashtag ABTV, RHONY, so that we can keep up with everything you're telling us, too.
That's right. And Sonja is at Bethenny's Brand Summit, speaking of where everyone's at. So we got to see, so sweet of Bethenny. She is holding this, it looks like a very important, one of those like strict boardroom meetings that makes you nervous, that you're going in all day knowing that like it's like an 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. kind of a day, and you're going to have these really scheduled short meal breaks, and everything's catered, and it's like we're getting down to business today. And there's plenty of water bottles and plenty of coffee, and like we're getting done in the nitty gritty. And in Walt, first of all, we all thought Bethenny looked so amazing in that dress.
Amazing.
Loved it.
Tailored to perfection for her
and
body.
And it matched her brand coloring, red, black, and white.
She looks like a business person. I was like, she looks like the skinny girl today. So cute. And in Walt's Sonja, to get a taste of what it's like to do big business and hear all about what it's like to run multiple brands. And I thought that was so sweet of Bethenny.
So nice.
What did you guys think?
So nice. People are so hard on Sonja. she's a mess, she's this, she's not focused. I've said it on the show that, I want to be friends with her and I want to hang out with her, but I don't know if I'd want to go into business with her. But she's great, but, people have so much to say about how she runs her business. And Bethenny just wants to help her, has no other intentions than you can learn from this, because I failed too. I failed a million times before I made it. Like most successful people, Michael Jordan said the same thing. I, failed more than I made it. And that's how you become a success. And she genuinely wants to help Sonja. I thought it was so sweet.
I thought it was really, really nice too, but I have to admit that I thought that Sonja was going to screw it up somehow and say something really
we thought she
stupid.
did.
Yeah. But she didn't. She held it together. She looked a little bored, but she held it together, and I think it was really nice for her to kind of see how it actually works, how the business works, and see all these people working together as one to build this brand and whatever it takes, and being aware of the consumer and everything. Right. And I don't think, maybe she wasn't aware of that, or maybe the people she's working with weren't making her aware of that. So this, I feel like, is going to benefit her so much more in her own business.
Yeah. We thought that she screwed up when they said, do you have anything good to say? Because they were going through all of the grievances, and nobody had anything to say. And then Sonja was like, Bethenny looked great last night in her bustier or whatever.
Oh, yes.
What is she talking about?
And it was actually a plus.
But yeah, you pointed out that's her
that
line.
It was about her shapewear line. Yeah, you both were like, "Oh my God, what is she talking about Bethenny? Sonja's crazy." And I'm like, I think she's referring to the shapewear line that Bethenny's rocks under her blazers.
Right.
That's one of her skinny girl brands.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I can't remember the question it was that Sonja asked. When she was like, Sonja, do you want to ask them anything? And I can't remember the question that she asked them, but I was thinking is this actually something Sonja needs to know? Is she just trying to sound smart? Either way, I think I would have felt, if I were Sonja, I would have felt very just overwhelmed. Yeah, it was like a big serious meeting, and Bethenny's like, come in, learn from my people, and you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. So I thought she held her own.
Yeah, she did. I think it seemed like she learned a lot. She was so grateful, and she was taking notes.
I thought it was really funny at the end that Bethenny was like, why is Skinny Girl Sweetener not on the coffee bar? The competitor sweeteners. I think that's a big screw up too.
Major.
Because look, I come from a catering and waiting on tables background. I feel like that's an easy detail that when you're arriving to the meeting, the coffee bar's the first thing right there, right in your face.
Right.
You all got coffee when you walked in. Right. Why did no one say, where's our samples of the sweetener? We got to put them on the table.
Right? It's like serving Pepsi at a Coke convention.
Oh, gosh.
I think you're exactly right.
Like
You're exactly right. I mean, if the competitor sweetener is out on the table.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not good. Okay, so that was a little kind of a short thing that we did on the show, but let's talk about Dance Battle America. If you guys haven't seen on Instagram, our creator at AfterBuzz here, Maria Menounos, who is also on E! I'm sure you all know that. She has been doing this really fun thing with Julianne Hough over Instagram for a few years now, where during the holidays they do these fun little dance battles back and forth to each other, and it's gotten so big and so fun that some celebs have joined in, of course her brother Derek Hough, Kate Hudson joined in. I think it was over Thanksgiving. It was so cool. And Amber Riley, she's so sweet, from Glee. I met her at the Topanga Mall and she couldn't have been nicer. I was fanning out but she's so nice. She joined in. So it's so exciting because now this is being made into a show for ABC. Excuse me. ABC. So now everybody can have a chance to do your own dance battle on TV. So you can get flown out here to LA. If you want to go to www.dancebattleamericacasting.com, that's where all the information is going to be about how to submit your video. Go ahead and post your video on social media, hashtag it with Dance Battle ABC, and that way you can get your chance. You're going to be able to enter yourself to be on the show and dance battle it off. Dance Battle America. It's coming to ABC, so super exciting. We're super excited about that.
It's amazing that it's turned into a television show.
I know, isn't social media amazing?
Yeah, right?
So cool.
And don't be surprised if you see a Housewives interpretive dance. We have a professional dancer right here.
No, but Ashley, one of our co-hosts, does a lot of dance battle stuff. So I'm sure if you guys have seen Maria's Instagram and stuff, you probably recognize a couple of hosts on there. So
nice.
It's so cool. Yeah, if you guys want to go look that up on Maria's Instagram, Ashley's in all the videos. So, and Ashley will be back next week. She's actually doing a fun gig today. So miss you, Ashley. We'll see you next week. Speaking of missing each other, Ramona was happy to have Avery home from school. They had a fun little conversation when Avery first got in the car. She's like, Mom, I can't go to dinner. I got to do my paper. And I related to this back in college when you would have all your final projects and your finals at the same time. So it'd be like you kind of cruise along throughout the semester and then everything's all in one week. All 5 classes have a giant paper and a final. So I got it that it was the last thing she had to do. And she said, I met this really cute boy on the train and he's from my school. We just started talking. I thought it was adorable that Ramona's in the frame of meeting men, frame of mind where it's all about the boys. And she's like, well, it's more important to talk to a cute boy.
Then finish your paper that's due tonight. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Adorable. So then we flash forward to a cute scene. Well, I don't want to say cute. A serious moment between the two of them talking about Mario. And Ramona just wanted to be honest with her and explain, your father's been pursuing me again. Did you know that? And I thought that it was just such an honest, grown-up conversation between the two of them. And I thought it was very touching to see that on camera, especially because Ramona, to me, can come off a little harsh sometimes. That it was nice to see this really gentle, quiet side of her, I think. What did you guys think of that conversation?
I thought that Avery was the more mature one, that everything that was coming out of Avery's mouth was so mature, so thought out, so, reasonable. I was like, she's such a great kid, and she's so... the way she's handling this is so mature. And Ramona, I think she was doing her part, and it was a good conversation between mom and daughter going through a difficult time. But I was just laughing that Ramona was in her talking head, I don't say anything bad about Avery's dad. And then you cut to, he's not a very happy person, your father. Oh, Ramona. But it was a good conversation. Avery, she should be so proud of her because she's so mature and handling it so well. So I hope I'm sure it wasn't just for the cameras. I think she seems like a genuinely smart, good kid.
Well, we've just seen her grow up through these past 7 seasons. I mean, she is a young woman. And so the fact that she can come back and be so honest and really give Ramona some good, genuine advice too. I mean, because obviously, Avery just wants her mom to be happy, whether they're together or not. And I think, especially since she had taken that break from talking to Mario for as long as she did, her dad and stuff, and then coming back and being like, okay, we're opening the lines of communication again. I just think that she's being really fair about everything she's saying. So fair. So props to Avery.
Yeah.
Snaps. It's adorable to see them just come together, agree on it, and be so adult. Being not so adult, maybe, all of the things talked about over dinner at the steakhouse. So we're doing another dinner scene with a lot of the ladies, which I love these because I feel like so much happens and so much gets hashed out or stirred up at these dinners. And there's just so much getting together this season. I love it. I don't know why they keep saying Bethenny doesn't come to anything because she's in everything.
She's in everything, yeah.
So Bethenny's at dinner with Ramona. They're waiting for Dorinda and Carole to come. So I think the first conversation that I really thought something was getting stirred up was Carole comes in, everyone says, oh, hey, of course we're talking about what happened with Heather and the Berkshires. And Carole immediately starts defending Heather. Where did you think that was going? A good place or a bad place?
I didn't know where it was going, but I was like, thank you, Carole. I just love Carole to death. It makes me love her even more that she's such a good friend that she's like, they're talking about my friend behind my back and I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to defend her. So I was just like, Carole's awesome. She's awesome. I didn't think it was going to blow up because Carole's so calm. And I think it was just perfect the way she handled it.
I agree. I think she handled that right because to bring it up and say, hey, this is how she was feeling, but then for Bethenny to kind of shut her down. And we've seen Bethenny shut down Heather previously when she was like, oh, that doesn't interest me. I don't want to talk about it. In this situation, she's like, well, I'm not gonna like, I don't agree with you. But then Carole not getting into it and going, I've said my piece. I did my duty as a good friend. Mention something. All right, then that's, if they're gonna do it, whatever. And I think at that moment, it kind of nips it in the bud, so it doesn't get talked about again anyway.
Right. Right. It was perfect.
Speaking of being at a steakhouse, it smells like steak and mashed potatoes in the
God,
studio
I'm
right
like,
now.
what did they order? Yes, me too. Like, what did they order?
It smells so good. It's totally distracting. But I think I was shocked to see yet again Bethenny say, like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to talk about this. Like you were saying, Lyndsey. Like, at first in this season, when this was first happening, I was like, wow, that's so mature of Bethenny to, like, shut down what could become a crazy situation. But now it's like, whenever it benefits her to shut it down, she just wants to shut everything down all the time.
She wants to control the situation.
Yeah, and it's like we're rarely seeing her engage in any sort of conflict resolution.
Yeah, like when she was saying, I don't want to talk about it at, I'm so out there, I don't want to be out there anymore at the dinner in the Berkshires. I was like, you're on the Housewives.
Right,
you're out there.
You've got a brand that spans how many different states and is all over. Like, you are out there.
Yeah.
But then you see her kind of joking with Ramona when they first sat down, and Ramona's like, are there men here? I was looking for men. Like, why aren't there men? And Bethenny's like, oh, I thought this place. And she's like, I didn't even see that text message. We can go wherever you want. So she is open, but I think you have to approach her in the right way, because I could even see if I was Bethenny and I was out with a girlfriend and I had missed that text, I would kind of be a little bit offended. I'd be like, I picked a place for us. I'm not worried about meeting men. I'm meeting you.
Right.
I'm hanging out with you. You're my girlfriend. Like, if we talk about, hey, tonight's like a night, let's go out and meet guys, or let's go out and find dates.
Right.
One thing. But to go, they had talked about dinner. It just felt a little strange that Ramona would make such a big deal about it.
Right. Bethany's probably like, do we want to have a night with me?
Well, she was wearing black. She wasn't wearing Ramona blue because hashtag you can't claim a color.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to bring that back in because that's not your favorite hashtag. You can't claim a color.
I really like that Avery really was like, Mom, shut up. You cannot claim a color.
Sorry.
I love that like your daughter's the one person on earth that can be so honest with you that you can't get so offended. She's like, Mom, shut up. You can't claim that blue.
I'm sorry, I had to bring that up. I loved it too much.
Yeah.
It was adorable.
A good one.
Hashtag can't claim a color. Ramona was as randy as she's been. It's funny to see this roller coaster of her like being demure some evenings, but then another night it's like they're just trying to have a dinner with the girls and she wants to meet men. They're supposed to be having dinner together, but she wants to be meeting men and she's wearing her like scantily clad little tank top. So she's horrified that the conversation leads into having a three-way with 2 women, 1 man. Do we think that she's faking how offended she is? Or
I don't think so. I think she's really like, I was married for 25 years. I'm Catholic. I'm not into this. And like, it makes her uncomfortable. Which like, I don't think it's because she's old. I'm like, I'm with you, Sonja. Like, I think it's like, all right. Like, I could see how it makes her uncomfortable a little bit.
I think it's one of 2 things. Either she really is truly uncomfortable by it, or she's shy, like she was last week in the Berkshires when they were talking to her, well, tell us about your date, and she all of a sudden was like clamming up about it and didn't want to talk about it. But maybe when you get her off camera, you talk about it. I mean, there are certain things I'm not going to say around certain people because I wouldn't want my family to think bad things, but I'm going to talk to my girlfriends about it and be like, hey, this is what happened. Like,
and I think she's like a little judgmental maybe.
Yeah.
So I think she wants to be cool and wants to have fun and wants to have funny conversations, but when it gets to things that really she's like, I can't relate to this, I think she's also a little judgmental and she doesn't know how to handle it.
And I think also as she's maybe, I don't know, I feel like I'm more open to talking about weird stuff like that now than I was 10 years ago. I would have been like, oh my God, you guys.
Right.
And I would have like hid and been like the nerdy girl, like hiding and like, oh my God, are we really talking about that right now? That would have been me.
Right.
So maybe because she is recently single and that was something that would never have come up in her relationship with Mario, this is brand new information to her.
Yeah.
Right.
I think maybe, she's been on lockdown with 1 man for so long, and like back in the day when she was catting around town, this was not something widely talked about.
Right.
Well, there you go. I don't mean, but wasn't she living in Manhattan in the 70s? Like, come on.
Her and
80s.
Mario got
In the
together.
80s.
I thought, oh wait, no, was she older when she married Mario?
She was like in her late 30s when she married
was
Mario,
she?
so she was like, out and about, single in New York in the 80s and 90s, I think. I'm pretty sure. In the 80s, definitely, which, you know, things were going on. But she didn't participate, and she doesn't, it makes her uncomfortable. I don't know. I think it's funny because she's Ramona, and she's so opinionated, and she's so... And then they talk about that,
and she clams
like,
up.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. I like that Kristen pointed that out last week.
Yes. And Carole is so open.
I know how Carole was like, I just can't with you. She's censored herself from saying a prude, but that's exactly what she meant.
Yes, totally. But I think it's funny, like, Jackie O is probably rolling over in her grave, like, clutching her pearls, like, look at my nephew's wife talking about this on national television. Like, you never know.
Never know.
It's surprising that she's so...
Never know what Jackie was into either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That randy husband of his. Okay. So from that get-together, we go to another get-together with all the ladies there. So Ramona wants to hold like a fun, like Christmas-timey night out. I'm not sure if it was Christmas or not, but everything's had Christmas decorations on it the past couple episodes.
Yeah.
So I guess it's maybe the holidays leading up to Christmas. So... Restaurant's decorated beautiful. All the ladies are dressed to the nines at the AOA. And Bethenny and Ramona are the first two to kind of start having a serious conversation. There's a lot of like, hi. Kristen's feeling boxed out, so she goes over to the bar and is doing her own thing. But Bethenny and Ramona have a conversation where they agree on why they're uncomfortable around Heather, which is that they think that she's disingenuous, that her eyes are saying one thing and her mouth is saying another. Was this kind of like a revelation for you both about why Bethany's been so standoffish?
No, I think she just doesn't like Heather.
Okay.
I think she just rubs her the wrong way, and I think they were trying to figure it out, but I don't know if they got to the answer.
No, I think that she's always they both have kind of felt like this, and maybe they're realizing they both agree they have the same feelings about it, but I think Bethenny realized that a while back and just didn't know how to approach it.
Okay. I loved this moment because it made so much sense to me finally why Bethenny has been so rude to Heather. It's kind of like, I know she didn't like her, I just couldn't figure out why. So I like that she's like, you know what, her eyes are saying one thing and her mouth is saying another. And I kind of felt like, I don't know if Ramona felt the same way. Ramona felt to me like she was jumping on the bandwagon
just
or something.
Agree with Bethenny.
But it's not, I mean, for me, it was like a relief to be like, okay, finally, we can pinpoint like what Bethenny's problem is, because it's been constant, like, I don't like you, I don't want to talk about this, let's shut it down, you know?
Yeah.
I just want the wall up. Get off my jock. I've been saying get off my jock to everyone, like, as a joke, but I love that Bethenny kind of has coined that.
I guess it's interesting, like, the two people Bethenny doesn't connect with are Kristen and Heather, and the two people she really likes are Carole and Dorinda, and Dorinda seems very, like, straightforward, very direct.
Self-assured.
Does Carole seem like that? I guess she's just, like, a little self-assured, too, yeah.
She's definitely not into the gossip. What were you going to say, Lyndsey?
Well, I was going to say that Heather is straightforward, though, too.
Yeah.
But maybe in more of, I think Bethany said this, in more of an insecure way, though. Where she's still nurturing and stuff. And Carole, like we said when she came to the first dinner, like it was like, hey guys, it wasn't even like, hi, how are you, or a hug or anything. Carole just walks in and sits down. Where most of the women, when they see each other, are kissing or greeting each other, you know. So I think Heather is very straightforward as well. It's just in a different way where we saw tonight in the episode, Dorinda completely like jump out of the drama. She's like, oh, saw what's going on here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Peace.
So while Kristen is feeling boxed out over near the bar, Carole joins her, and Carole decides to tell her, I thought this was such a bad move. Carole tells her, oh, hey, by the way, I happened to be talking to Bethenny the other day, and she told me that you were dumb for not trademarking Pop of Color. Wow. Go ahead, Fran.
Oh.
No, go ahead. I was going to say,
I think the
this
producers probably put her up to that because
You think?
I think
Okay.
Carole's smarter than that, a better friend than that. The producers must have said, like, you have to say this.
Push
I'm
this.
not sure.
Right?
It just seemed so out of character for her.
Right, didn't it?
I mean, we see them at the Pop of Color like meeting earlier in the episode.
Right.
And Carole's being super fun about naming the nail polish colors and being silly about it, naming them after men or sexual like innuendos and stuff. We see Jacqueline, who was actually in here with Kristen. So I think Carole was probably really excited about this. So when she saw Bethenny, probably was like, oh, I was with Kristen this week at her Pop of Color meeting, and probably really excited to tell her about it. And Bethenny kind of came back and shot it down, or I'm assuming that's kind of how it came.
Yeah.
So Kristen then felt like she had to tell, Carole felt like she had to tell Kristen what happened, and
The scene never got shown.
the scene didn't get shown, or like we said, the producers kind of pushed her to do this.
Yeah, you're so
because-
right.
I thought that was interesting. Maybe you're right about the
Yeah.
producers getting involved, because I thought it was interesting that sometimes when they're not going to show a whole scene, they'll show just those words in kind of like a gray scale. You know,
Yes,
they change the
yeah.
color of it, and it's just a quick blurb.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see any of that to prove whether or not what got said, and we know that Bethenny, okay, so let's jump forward to Kristen finally gets her turn to talk to Bethenny about it. And Bethenny completely just walks away from the conversation. There was no, yes, I said that. There was no go screw yourself. I didn't say that.
Exactly.
Which you would expect either reaction maybe from Bethenny, because
Yeah.
she's usually so honest. And she jumps up and is like, no, I'm out of here. Ugh, I have to find Heather.
Red-handed. You obviously had nothing to say to her saying you Googled it, and why are you Googling me? Why are you so,
Right.
just own up to it or say why you did it or something. It was so unlike Bethenny. And she was just like, I'm out of here. I was like, she obviously did it.
So you think she obviously did it.
Yeah.
What do you think,
I think
Lyndsey?
I think she probably did it too, but she had already had this situation with Heather she was trying to deal with, and then Luann, and so I felt like it was just like everyone's coming at you like, who said it in the Danielle said it in Real Housewives of New Jersey, one at a time, remember, because they're all like attacking her.
Yeah.
And Bethenny actually stayed calm enough to not have to like yell, but just walked away from a situation, because I totally agree with you. I think she felt guilty, and she's like, I can't deal with this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I loved Kristen's eye makeup, so I'm going to say that. But because I'm going to say that she should not have approached Bethenny at the party. Wait till you're in, like, go set up a coffee meeting, sit down and talk about it. Let Bethenny tell you why she did this. You can listen. You can be like, hey, I appreciate your business, like, woman savvy and how successful you are, and I would love your help with this. I'm not going to take this as a complete dig against me. I'm going to take this as maybe you can give me some advice.
Totally. It would have been so much more fruitful.
Just would have been way better approach. So I just wish she would have waited, but that would not be drama.
Right.
And that would not be Housewives then.
Right.
I actually felt very bad for Kristen in this moment, and I'm 50-50 on what really happened and what exactly got said.
Yeah.
Because maybe Carole kind of twisted the words a little, making it sound a little worse than it was. I'm not sure. But I say, like, Kristen's pretty ballsy for saying, hey, Bethenny, I heard you were talking some sizzle about me.
And waiting around, and kind of like waiting around and like stalking her around.
Right. It was kind of unfortunate that she broke into the conversation with Luann.
Yeah.
So I know, Fern, last week you were like, I'm so excited to find out what Bethenny's talking about. Like, don't deliver these things in pretty little packages. So what did you think about Bethenny getting so upset over Luann just asking if she was okay?
Because she didn't just ask if she was okay. She like said, she was like defending Heather, and it pissed Bethenny off. So Bethenny's like, don't deliver. I like that, the pretty little package line. So yeah, I mean, I thought she like came up not really asking her, are you okay, but asking like, why didn't you take Heather's help if she's trying to help you? Like, you're obviously upset about something else. Everyone wants a scene with Bethenny because they know it's going to give them a storyline.
I loved Bethenny's like response back, and she was like, the baby's in the bassinet, breastfeed the baby, keep feeding the baby. Like, I was like, it was so much, but it was so like brilliant and so true.
so
because
funny.
it was right. I mean, I get it. Luann comes up and is like, just want to make sure you're okay. But it's like an I'm sorry, but. Well, then you're not really apologizing.
Right.
You're making an excuse.
Right.
And sometimes there is room for an I'm sorry, but. But
But
in this situation, Bethenny was spot on saying that you're your delivery is poor form.
Yeah. Luann has a lot of those, doesn't she? Like how are you doing since that? Well, you should have. Kind of a.
Yeah.
I feel like I get that a lot from Luann.
Yeah. She's like counseling people on how they should.
Well,
the etiquette
as Miss Manners, what should have happened was. All right, so I guess Luann and Bethenny kind of resolve that.
Seems like they giggle about it.
Kristen and Bethenny step aside. That doesn't work out so well. Bethenny walks right away. She goes to do her initial thing she had on her mind was to go talk to Heather. I want to talk to Heather. So Bethenny's actually ready with an apology for a second time. And I think this one was the genuine one.
I think so too.
What did you think of that moment between them?
I thought it was genuine, and I don't know if it would have happened if she hadn't had the fight with Heather, but I think she might have been like, I can't win this one, so let me walk out of here with one positive fire extinguished. I thought it was genuine.
I thought it was genuine, and it seems like they have a little truce. And it also seemed like, for once, Heather took a little bit of a step back and said, I'm going to let you come to me. And then Bethenny was like, well, I want to hug you. This is all that we've been saying. It's just, Heather, take a step back. Heather, you're a strong, amazing woman. She's fantastic. She's got a great family. They go through their own stuff because of her son having the...
Oh, my God,
so she's a strong, wonderful woman. Who cares if you're not friends with Bethenny?
Exactly.
Who cares? But this situation, great for her to just be like, I'm going to let you do your own thing, and when you're ready, then you can come to me. That's just the way that she needs to deal with Bethenny. The sooner that she figured that out, I think the better that their relationship is going to be, because we hear Bethenny say, actually, there's a lot of things I like about Heather.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice to hear?
Yes, I never thought I'd see that coming.
I know. I wrote down, she's like, I think I genuinely like her. And I was like, hey, what?
Since
After all
when?
this? All right. But it's weird. It's probably that power dance between the two of them where the second Heather backed off, it's like Bethenny's like, well, I don't want her not pursuing me. Maybe I like her. I like her. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that I see like a weird power dance between them, and it's not so much a friendship, but let's hope that they can get along in the same room next week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I totally glossed over the Pop of Color meeting.
Your nails are great.
Thanks. It's not
like
Pop
that
of Color, but Kristen
like
sent
that
us some
melon.
Pop of Color and we'll wear it.
Yes.
So, we're hoping Kristen will come back later this summer. She's got a meeting here in LA, so hopefully we'll be bringing that to you, and we can all wear our Pop of Color.
Yeah.
But how funny was that meeting? What did you guys think of Carole's whole thing was that she wanted all of the polished names to be centered around sexual things.
What did she say, thrust?
And Kristen's like a Ramona, like she's like
She does
prudish,
the
and
gagging.
she's like, no, she's like, I'm thinking date night. She's a romantic, and Carole's like, what?
What did you think, Linz?
I just thought it was typical Carole. She has no filter, but it's endearing. You love her for it.
Yeah.
I'm a Carole fan, so.
How can anyone not be? I mean, I guess there are non-Carole fans, but she's like a calm Bethenny. She's funny and smart.
Just funny comic relief. And I'm so happy for Kristen. I'm so happy for all of them starting their own businesses, and it just makes you feel strong and powerful,
inspired.
and I'm doing my own thing. I think Kristen has such a great brand with the fashion and the nail polish and stuff. So hopefully we see you again, Kristen. Can't wait. All right, girls, did I miss anything else?
I think we covered it.
We did. Fabulous. Why don't we get into predictions for next week?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Alrighty. Who wants to go first? I'm the worst.
I'm the worst.
All right, I'll do some predictions. So I believe that Sonja mentions going to Turks and Caicos. So I think that's where our big, usually they do a trip. So I think that's where their big trip is going to be. We're going to see a ton of drama coming from the trip. It always seems to happen. That's when the whole Kelly Ben Simone thing happened with Bethenny and her years ago when they went on their trip and stuff. So I feel like that's going to bring lots of drama. I love that Sonja's planning it because we really, the past couple episodes, haven't seen a whole lot of Sonja. So I think her planning this will bring her back centrally again. And I think Ramona confronting Kristen about the situation with Bethenny is just going to make Kristen feel even more of an outsider. And we also haven't seen her a whole lot in the the season so far. It's been very little bits and pieces, and I love seeing Kristen. So I think that could be bad, and that Bethenny and Ramona could kind of gang up on her a little bit, and Kristen may be pushed out, because if Bethenny's repairing her relationship with Heather, then that leaves Kristen on the outside.
So I predict Heather coming to Kristen's defense.
Okay.
That's how I see it all playing out.
Wow, I like that, Fern. Wow, I don't know. I just think that Kristen is not going to take it lightly that Ramona calls her dumb. Enough with the dumb pretty thing. Enough.
Yeah.
It's really rude, though.
It is.
So rude. I mean, maybe Ramona's got a lot of Ramona Pinot in her veins next week when she says that, but we'll have to stick around to find out. I also am looking forward to the conversation between Carole and Bethenny when Carol's like, I had a sex dream about you. It's kind of continuing on like the whole conversation tonight about maybe I want to be a lesbian now. I'm over men and three-ways, and so that'll be fun. Gosh, I don't know what else. Maybe we'll get to see them heading to Turks and Caicos next week, or
I
maybe
love when they have trips. It's always crazy.
It's exciting. Well, it looks like something goes down between Kristen and Bethenny too. That she's saying you haven't cleared. I guess it's something where Bethenny can't make it to something, and Kristen's upset because she's already cleared her schedule. So rounds 5 or 6 with those two. Alrighty, guys, where can we find you online?
You guys, this is Lyndsey here. You guys can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lyndsey Wegner. That's LYNDSEYWEGNER, or my blog, lyndseywegner.blogspot.com.
Fern Ronay here. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fern Ronay, FERNRONAY.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Megan Stecher. It's MEGANSTECHER. That's all for this week. Can't wait for next week. Hopefully Ashley will be back, and who knows, maybe we could try to get Dr. Fran in here again.
Bye.
All right, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.